Welcome to a new episode of Wedding Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, the team from Weddings a la Mode and Mode Events joins us with a special guest to chat about all things wedding related. Now pour yourself a drink and let's get to planning.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wedding Wednesdays. My name is Rex Balsita from Moton Events, and I am one of your four hosts this evening, a very special episode of Wedding Wednesday. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on the rest of the squad for tonight. So up first, I'd like to introduce DJ Kid Christian Jacob from Moton Events Chicago.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's up? Thanks for joining. The next person that's going to join this lovely panel is Sheridan, aka DJ Slip from Las Vegas. Mode Vegas in the house.
What up?
What's up, Slip?
What's going on?
What up, Slip? And last, but certainly not least, we have a very special guest joining us. And that is the one and only DJ Icy Ice from Los Angeles, California.
How's it going, you guys?
What's up?
Hi.
All right.
Hey.
So, this is, again, a very special episode this evening, which we're kind of calling it the Wedding DJ panel. We're going to do some quick introductions before we start. So, again, my name is Rex, born and raised here in Chicago. Been a DJ for a very long time, probably since about 94. Scratch DJ, basement, bedroom DJ, bar DJ in school, DJ for bands. Eventually did the club thing. And then probably in about 2007 or 8 or so, we started to do private events and weddings. So partner of mine, who's on the panel, Christian. I've been pretty much right-hand man ever since about 96. And we actually started a company, private events company, about 2007 called Mixed Media. And that was, again, kind of like the start of, okay, let's move away from this club, everything but the clubs, right? Let's still focus on DJing because, you know, we're all DJs at heart. We all still love it. But let's see if we could find another kind of avenue to get into. So, again, Christian, maybe I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up? Christian from Chicago, aka DJ Kid Chris. Definitely Rex's right-hand man. We've been working together ever since, probably since we were 15. I mean, he taught me how to DJ. And, like, you know, just same come up, you know, like going through the, throwing our own parties, promotion game, getting into the industry and nightclub scene, doing that for years, really honing our crafts. And then, like, we kind of got to a point where it's like, well, how do we still do what we love to do, not age out of the club, because there's always younger and up and coming DJs taking our spots at the club and stuff like that. Be involved in the culture and still be able to provide value with what we do. And so that's kind of how we came about with Mixed Media, how we came about with Mode Events, and got into, like, weddings. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it in a little bit, talking about, you know, wedding DJs and, like, the stigma around wedding DJs compared to all of us industry folks. So,
Right.
But yeah, we've been in the game for a long time. I mean, it's 20-something years now, 23 years, I think.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into the wedding thing. You know, with Mode Events, basically was started around 2014. Shout out to DJ Chris Mix and Dre Martinez. They are other two partners that are here in Chicago. You know, we kind of came together and decided to, you know what, let's, AKA, I don't know, let's rule the world, pretty much. That was our mentality, right? Let's do anything and everything, just kind of grow. We were originally a DJ company. And then we just kind of quickly grew into, you know, production and AV. We were actually lucky enough to gain some experience, gain some clients that were looking for more than just DJing. And I admit, even till this day, we're still trying to pull ourselves away from being known as a DJ company. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're definitely trying to kind of branch out to be really just an all-in-one type of company. So 2014 Mode was created, and then we gained a client that was really started to take us nationwide. And we then met Sheridan from Las Vegas. And then in 2017, Mode Las Vegas was born. And
That's right. Yeah, that's where it went crazy after that, right? So I was already trying to start my own business. I think I even called Ice one time. I was like thinking, hey, I'm thinking about this name that I was thinking about. I don't remember if you remember that call, Ice. I forgot what it was.
What was the name?
I think it was called Music from Music. It was like DJs create music out of other people's music. So that was technically the company I was going to start. But before that happened, my partner ended up passing away. So when Chris came out here, I think that's when he heard about it. It was like, hey, why don't you join up? And we wanted to expand here in the West Coast. And it made sense. They were looking either for expansion through LA, but I think the Vegas market kind of really enticed him, and loved how the business mindset that we both shared had in common.
He loved your work ethic. He loved your demeanor. He loved everything about what you brought. Yeah, for sure.
So, and that's how that came about. So we're still expanding, and I know that we've connected with New York and with Florida as well, especially with that one client. So
we've got affiliates in Florida and New York. It's kind of nice just having a footprint there. We would like to grow that footprint in New York and Florida, which is what we're working on, as well as Vegas and Chicago. But also, ultimately, I think we do want to go to the West Coast, Ice. But pause. So we're looking to we'll look into kind of like what we can do, but we're really quick just to kind of touch on COVID. We're really taking this time to really grow internally in our structure, and really get a good base, and really just try to take this time to reflect on how we've done, what we're doing now, and what our goals are moving forward for the company. So there's a lot of people in the room. Sorry we can't address everybody, but what's up? I see Chris Cut, D Double, cousin Glenn Coco. I see Brad as my boyfriend, who is our host, which I'll get to in a minute. But without a doubt, we want to get into now our featured guest, Icy Ice. So welcome, Ice, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
How's it going, you guys? Yeah, I'm a career DJ just like you guys. I guess with the exception of I enjoy doing all types of events. So I still love playing the clubs. I still love playing all types of events, big and small. I have been able to still do everything from your small nightclubs all the way up to big wedding events, all the way up to corporate functions and so on and so forth. I don't currently have my own wedding company or event company like you guys. Just a freelancer, and I get called for these weddings. I do them.
What about a little bit about your day one? What's your day one like being a DJ?
My day one, as in,
like, how did you start? How did you really get into it? What was the original kind of DJing that you were doing, and how did it evolve into kind of clubs and events and weddings?
Man, the thing that got me to fall in love with DJing, just first and foremost, was just turntablism. I loved hearing scratching, cutting, doing doubles, just the whole art of DJing. So that's what got me into it in the first place.
Awesome.
And the first gigs I started playing were weddings.
Right. Really?
Well, I would go along. I would tag along with friends' older brothers,
right,
cousins that were older that were DJing ahead of me. So I just kind of learned the ropes through them, and the kind of gigs they were doing were weddings. So that's how I started.
Sure.
And eventually I made my way into clubs, radio, touring, all that other stuff. But day one was turntablism, and then my first type of gigs were weddings.
Wow, that's cool. And then this is
Similar to us, right? I mean, we were scratching in our basement playing house records, and then like the moment one of our friends was having a cotillion, like, either J Funk out, or we were doing for like $50,
right.
Yeah. And then like that evolving to weddings too, before we even started getting into like clubs and trying to promote our own parties and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right. And then just to
you
like
mentioned that $50 though, like it was like you would have a whole crew. Back in the 90s, it was all about bringing a whole crew of guys to help lift up the speakers, lift up the lighting, lift up the bass bottoms, lift up whatever trussing that we had, all that stuff, you know.
And can I just have a moment of reflection for all of us here? Remember when we had records at weddings and events, and just like
Yes.
that's all you had. You're limited to your crates, and that was it.
Exactly.
Yeah, just hilarious, just crazy.
Crazy how things change, yeah.
Roughly, you don't have to give the exact date, but when was the year you know, a couple years you kind of started scratching and DJing?
Ooh.
Let's just put it this way: Beat Junkies started in '92, and I was still DJing way before the Beat Junkies. So,
all right.
Right, that's exactly what I remember.
So yeah, I've been DJing for a long time.
For a long time. Very cool. Longer than Dave. Do you know?
Is he in there? Yeah.
Dave too, yeah.
Probably longer than Dave. Yeah. Okay.
That's a D double. What up, man?
D double. So okay, yeah. I guess, you know, we're gonna get into it. Just a few things I wanted to address before we get started. So this is a Wedding Wednesday vlog. This is a weekly vlog that is hosted here on our Mode Events channel. The lovely Lindsay Gata, aka Barada, is my boyfriend, is in the room. She normally does host this, but I took on tonight to kind of just like maybe change it up, you know, change up a couple topics. But the point of this is really to bring on some guests, bring on some of our really trusted vendors that we work with normally, and really just get their message out and, you know, promote them, as well as, you know, just like sharing about, you know, the Mode way. This is the wedding DJ panel, of course, and we're going to try to talk through the entire process of what it is in being a wedding DJ, right? So that's kind of like starts with that couple first interaction with the selling and, you know, kind of what it's like, sorry, that's Tam, selling and, you know, what it's like meeting with them and what it's like pitching them. Then, you know, kind of move on to some of that planning. Okay, assuming they say yes, right? Then it's kind of like, okay, what's that planning and what's that consultation like? What are the type of things that you're kind of helping along with? And then, of course, the very last thing is going to be your execution, right? It's like, what are the things that you really try to focus on when you execute or at the night of? I know there's so much overlap between every single one of those topics, and we're going to try to get through as many of them as possible. And then a quick disclaimer, there is no right or wrong answer to any of these questions or comments or topics. I mean, the point of this is to really get the perspective of like here, you know, me, myself, and Christian here in Chicago, you know, Slip's perspective in Vegas, and then we got Ice over in LA. So it's really going to be kind of like a rotating thing. Going to try to keep a timer, but that's probably not going to work. Going to try to keep a spreadsheet, but that's probably not going to work either. So without further ado, let's get into it. And the first thing that I want to address on, kind of not really process related, is wedding DJ versus a club DJ, right? Which is fighting words. Yeah, and you know what? I think maybe let's just take this time to maybe, you know, we'll all say a few things on what their view is on one or the other or being both. Now, I think I'll start with all four of us are both, right? And we've all done both. We've all been both. So I think that's a really cool perspective that we all have. We could play both sides and go both ways. Pause. But we're going to try to talk through, you know, maybe what it is that you don't like about being both or one or the other. And you know what? I'll start it off. Maybe we'll have Christian start so that I'll just come around the back end.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I mean, there's obviously a stigma, right? Like a wedding DJ. Like we all got into DJing. Like, let's be honest, trying to be cool, like trying to be part of the show, being that dude on stage and rocking the crowd. And of course, when you transition into like weddings, at least in my journey, you know, I was weaning off the club scene. I started having kids and started getting older, and like, I mean, the biggest factor for me was like, yo, I can make a whole lot more money DJing a wedding. Like, the potential to make money was a lot, but
Sure.
then comes a realization of like, man, it's a lot of work. Like, it's definitely a lot of work. Usually in the club, you show up, you have the same crowd, a certain type of vibe you stick with, you know, you throw it down, and then your set's pretty similar. But with a wedding, like, every couple's different, and you have to like really learn how to program and really get into playing for that particular party, every single different type of wedding. And so I've learned to appreciate just being able to DJ for like a bride, for someone's special day, and to know I was a part of it, and then just like getting to know them, and then, I mean, killing it. Like, killing a wedding is like the best feeling after that, at the end of the night, you know, where they're just like, man, like, my friends still talk about you till this day and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, the
Club managers don't really say that.
like, how you feel like, it's rewarding in a different way compared to like clubs, you
Right.
know? Like, clubs is kind of like a very jolt of like, you know, super highs and super lows, and like instances, and you may have like a slow night or a poppin' night, but wedding, if you're doing your job, hopefully it's popping every single time you do it. So, and I've learned to appreciate it, and I like it a lot. So.
Sure. Sheridan, wedding DJ versus club DJ.
Oh man, I the last 5 years I've been doing a lot of weddings. When the club scene kind of slowed down, and usually it's during the holidays, right, and during the off seasons, I was doing weddings. And once I get booked for a wedding, I mean, I'm all in, right? I can't cancel on that client, on that couple. So that slowed me down. So I get calls from the clubs. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't just do that, no matter how much they're willing to pay me. So it slowly went to weddings, and now I'm doing over almost 100 weddings a year. So it's a little different on my end, because they give us the clients. So the venue that I'm at, we do 200 weddings. So now I really noticed the appreciation of a wedding DJ, and it, just like Christian said, it is rewarding. Even before I actually play a record or the dance floor is even open, I'm already getting compliments. I could DJ for 1,000, 2,000 people, and I'm just going home without a pat on the back. They don't care. They pay here in Las Vegas. They pay $30, $50 in bottle service, and they don't even care less if it's me on the turntables or anyone else. There's some nights, I'm not going to say all the nights, but when it comes to a wedding, they definitely appreciate you. But on the other side of it, you could do a terrible job, and they'll never forget of what you've done to them.
Yeah. You're ruining a special day.
Dude, yeah, that's like so messed up. Like how
the responsibilities, right, of a wedding DJ or any vendor that's gonna be in charge of helping out their wedding to be memorable. So,
Sure. All right, Ice, what you got? Wedding DJ versus club DJ.
Well, I still juggle both. So I mean, I do both clubs and weddings and corporate and all of that stuff. But yeah, the big difference between the club DJing and wedding DJing. So club, yes, you get a set crowd, and yes, you can pretty much rock anything, and they'll dance, they're hype, all that stuff.
Yeah.
With the wedding, yes, it is part of a special day. You're part of that couple's special day. And I guess in my case, they seek me out because they've attended my clubs, because they've heard me on the radio, because they've grown up with me in some sort of way, that they want me part of their special events. So I'm honored. I'm honored to be able to play for them, their family, their special guests. The one thing I do appreciate about wedding DJing is that you're not just hitting one genre. You're hitting everything across the board. Whereas at a club, you got to just keep it a certain genre, or if you do stray, then you can only stray for a little bit, and then you gotta keep it back on that, that vibe to keep everybody lit. Versus a wedding, they're just naturally lit because this is a special event.
Celebration. It's a celebration.
Celebration.
Sure. Yeah. Toto, or no, not Toto. I mean, that's an easy question, dude. Of course, like 100%, 1,000%, yes.
Yeah, Toto.
I already have remixes of that already.
Yeah. I know. Shout out to Albanese or whoever. I remember he played a remix lately that Voltaire has.
We made quick side story, but we made like a CD of 10 minutes straight. Unedited, right? 10 minutes on a CD, and then we would take like an invisible scratch pickle breakbeat, and then like remix it live.
Just over it,
like 3 or 4 minutes. Man, we let it ride for like 6 or
10 minutes until people just start creeping off and just like peeling off because they're just tired. It's so funny. But yeah, thanks, Ice, for that. I guess if I could just add a few things, like. Again, we're all club DJs first. That stigma of man, wedding DJ. When I just started doing weddings, it was like, man, it's hard because I've done there, I've helped, and it was intimidating as hell. Just like being the spotlight and the center of attraction, and just making sure you have that, just having that confidence to be the center of attraction, right? That's like probably a really big challenge for people in general, right? So you have to overcome that one, right? And then I always felt like, oh man, being a wedding DJ is like, man, you got a lav here, you got vest, and you're like, you're just being very cheeky behind like this little tower thing, and you're just like, and that's how I thought wedding DJs were. So then, I was saying earlier that it was really easy to make a transition for me personally because a lot of my friends just started asking us to DJ their weddings. And I was like, oh man, you want to DJ your wedding? Like, yeah, we're going to tear it up. Like, I know everything you like. We all like the same music, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And they always were. And so kind of with that was how I eased into doing weddings, but I actually approached the dancing even very similar. I have a very, my approach to open dance floors, like it's a constant survey for me, right? It's like, I'm watching all the time. It's like 1 or 2 songs in, I'm always watching if I get a good response from a group or the entire, I'm trying to continue it. And it's all about building that, right? You never want to lose it. Like the minute somebody leaves, you don't want anybody to leave. So at a wedding, it's almost similar, right? I hate when people start to leave off. I mean, yeah, maybe people get tired. They're like, no, man, like I'm trying to kill it. I want people to stay on. So I kind of bring that same pressure to myself when I'm in front of a wedding crowd as well, right? Because again, like you said, Ice, you could go so many different ways. So it almost makes it a lot harder. I'm sure everybody has like their artillery of songs that they play. But yeah, it's a kind of a grind that I bring to the club. That I bring also to the dancing portion as well, because I want to make sure that's killed. But we'll move on a little bit. So I mentioned here like why is being a wedding DJ intimidating? And again, I think it is because just kind of being the center of attraction and being able to host an MC. Do you guys agree? Do you guys have anything else to add to why it's intimidating, or is it not intimidating?
I can at least say something. With a wedding DJ, you really need to be an MC, right?
Yeah.
You need to be able to provide their guest information, making announcements, but it's a whole different aspect of it. So It could be intimidating in that sense. Not everyone's meant for the microphone or meant to be in front of people that personal. Just with the experience that I have, to me, it's secondary now, and I love doing weddings. It could be intimidating because, just like I said, since I get booked by random couples, unlike maybe with you guys, you may get referrals from listening to clubs. They just hand me a wedding, and I look at it, African, Caribbean, or Pakistani wedding. Okay, I've never done that before. So yeah, so I get those, but it also broadened my music knowledge. Now, if you want me to do a Caribbean wedding, I know like the hottest songs. So definitely being an MC and knowing the knowledge of music and consultation with the client. So it could be intimidating. A lot of prep work isn't involved.
Yeah,
definitely.
consultation. We're definitely going to get into that for sure. But that's definitely a challenge too, right? You have to be able to talk to couples and kind of sell yourself in a sense, in a wedding way, right? That you learn. Originally, I didn't know how to sell a wedding, but eventually we learned what couples like to hear and how they like to do things. But real quick, so then if somebody was a club DJ listening in, never really did a wedding, what would be a number one tip you would give them? Would it be for, I guess, MC for sure, right? Be comfortable on the mic. And I'm not talking like hype man, like rap show mic, because that's different too, right? I'm not saying that doesn't work sometimes. Yeah, you could get rowdy and ratchet on the mic sometimes, but you need to have a clear, professional, clear and confident voice, right? I mean,
I think above all that, if I really had to break it down for someone as this is the entry point and this is the number one tip, it's not about you, and it's always about the couple and their family. That's the number one thing.
For sure.
You come into the club and it's about the Kid Chris show and how I'm gonna kill it, and then people give me shots and it's about me. But weddings, it's completely opposite. I'm serving you, doing everything to make sure that your day is going perfect. And so it's not about me shouting my DJ name out. It's about the couple and their family. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I echo those sentiments right there. The other thing I think that comes into play is I think you need three parts. So yes, you need to know how to DJ. Secondly, yes, you do know how to speak clearly and be able to carry yourself professionally. But number three, you also need to kind of have that built-in planning mechanism in you. You need to be able to stay on point, stay on time, because in addition to a wedding planner, you are the planner. You are the timekeeper of the wedding party. You are the heartbeat of the wedding party as the DJ, because you are keeping time. You are keeping them on track. You're keeping the flow and the energy of the wedding up. So yeah, you have to have kind of those three components all put together in one. So
right.
Yeah, a little bit of all three.
No, that's some great points for sure. And I think that's a good segue. Pretty much this next topic was, similar to what you would recommend someone getting started is now we're getting into a consultation with a client, right? So I wanted to go over some of the key selling points during meeting a couple, right? And there's always going to be levels of how much we need to sell, right? If you're selling a friend, of course, it's a no-brainer that's going to happen. But sometimes, you get a client and they really are shopping, and there's some things that I know that I like to say, and you guys all might have certain things, and at this point, I think it's pretty much spilling the beans too, and I don't mind, I would love to share this information with everyone out there and everyone watching. But yeah, so a couple of things that I just wanted to mention, key selling points that I kind of talk about. So first thing is, when it comes to, it's pretty simple, right? It's we're not, there's a lot of wedding DJs out there, right? And to be perfectly honest, most wedding DJs out there can do a pretty good job, like they do a good job. They do. Um, Again, like you said, Ice, building on that, people are there in the mood to party. So it's kind of hard to really, really mess it up, right? So I actually tell that to my couples. But then I tell them, we're not in the business for pretty good. We're not in the business for just good. Like, we're here to strive for amazing. We're here to strive for unforgettable. And I actually tell them, my couples, straight up, like, no offense to you two, but I want everybody talking about me. Like, I want everybody, I want your guests, your family, I want all your friends talking about me that night. I want them all talking about me the next day. So no couple has really ever did like these to me. They all usually laugh after I say that. But it's pretty clear. I really want them. I really want to stress that we're not in this to just give you a good wedding. We're in this to give you like an amazing time, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna do everything possible. Real quick, couple other things that I mentioned is kind of adding to I see you, CJ, kind of adding to what you said to Ice about you know being organizing and being kind of having that planner mentality. I mean, 100,000%, right? I actually tell couples like, hey, you know what? I don't care if whether you have a coordinator or planner, it doesn't matter to me. And they're more in charge of more smaller things and more even bigger things. But we are your true night of planner or your night of coordinator is kind of how I could say. Like, we are literally running this show. We are doing everything. We are making sure everything's on time. We are, we are the one looking for people, scrambling. Like, we don't want you to have to deal with that, right? I like to always say too, like, I want you to show up and effing do nothing. Like, literally don't do anything. Let me handle it. And then after I say that, there's just like, oh damn, like, okay. But yeah, so those are some of those initial selling points that I mentioned. But Christian, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I always preach about like being empathetic to the couple, what they're going through and trying to figure it out. Like, I mean, shopping for a DJ, like, what, you don't know anything about DJing unless you're in the industry somehow or know somebody or like your brother's a DJ. So you kind of have to just be able to tell them to trust you, have them be at ease, have them understand that we are going to be detail oriented. We're going to make sure that we're going to know everything that's going to happen and no surprises. And that's really what I think is important when I talk to couples. It's just like Rex said, just come and enjoy yourself. We don't want you to have to worry. Your day and planning up to this day has been stressful enough. This is the time when we celebrate and party. And so we truly are the quarterbacks of the night. I even go as far as like, you're spending a ton of money on videographers. I'm letting them know something's going to happen before we even started, just so we don't miss that shot. Like, I'm taking on that responsibility, and just really listening. We really want to put their personality on stage, their music taste and what they enjoy and what they love, and make that shine in the night and do it as best as we can. So by understanding their musical taste and then adding our expertise into that, then it's just a perfect mix of a good party. So I think that's really how I approach talking to couples.
Sure. Slip.
Yeah, I think he mentioned it a lot. So I also let the couples know that we do a lot more than just DJ, right? We make sure that we're not going to start the speeches unless the best man or parents are in the room, the photographers are in the room.
Yeah.
So those are the details that some DJs don't have. I mean, once even they have a wedding planner or a coordinator, it doesn't matter, because once we make that announcement that we're going to start speeches, we're good to go, and we're the ones that's going to look bad because if we're not ready to start right away. So it's absolutely right that we are technically the planner of the day.
Night.
Or evening.
Yeah.
I just had a day wedding like we could go.
Yeah. In Vegas, I guess it doesn't matter, right? It's all
Yeah.
Ice, what do you think some of your key selling points are that you mentioned?
A lot of the same things that you guys had said, and then I also kind of drive home the point that you can always find a cheap DJ out there. If you're just looking for if you're just looking for price, you can find cheap DJs out there that will play for your price point. But
Good. That's a good way to say. That's a nice way of saying it. I might use that.
I tell them that straight up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not cheap.
Yeah.
So I let them know, like, yo, you want a cheap DJ, you can find those. But if you want an amazing wedding and an unforgettable experiences like you guys are saying, then I'm your man.
Yeah. No, and it's so hard, right? Like the budget, working within a couple's budget, you have no idea what it is. Like it could be anything. It could be $500. It could be $5,000. Like you literally have no idea, and you have to sell it, right? And I think that's the coolest part about it, though. Is like, and like you said, though, Ice, we have a similar approach. We try to say like, hey, we know what this is worth. It's kind of like this package deal. Like this is what it's gonna cost you,
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that we're gonna get through. During this, even a selling meeting, as far as like consultation and the checklist we're going to get into. But like, I actually mentioned at the kind of end of the meeting, and I don't do this to all my couples, but I do sometimes. I say like, I'm like, go ahead, go shop, like do it. Like no one's going to do it like this. No one's going to present like this. No one is going to give you this dedication. No one's going to like give you above and beyond detailed consultation, planning, and execution. Like, and then when they say that, they're just like, oh, okay, like yeah, you're kind of challenging them to really, but.
And also, Rex, if I chime in too,
I'll add in too. Yeah. So go ahead.
And it's also it's okay to say no if you're not a perfect fit for that couple, like the DJ for that. It's okay to say no. Like if you don't know how to do a Latin wedding, just say no. You can't do it. Like it's unfair to the couple if you're gonna, if you're not genuine, giving that genuine answer. So I've done that as well. Unfortunately, with the venue I'm working, I'm part of the package. I'm stuck with it, right? So I do a lot of homework, and I'm really clear with the client. Like, okay, you want all radio versions of this language, but I don't even know the language, so I don't know if it's explicit or not. And I'm just upfront with them, right? So just be honest with the client, with the couples, and if you're not a perfect fit for them, then don't do it.
I see you're gonna add.
It was kind of along those same lines, but I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah, but again, I was just kind of saying like, go ahead and shop. Good luck. I'll be right here. We'll be right here when you're ready to sign.
That's true. They come back.
When you develop and hone your skills as a wedding DJ, like you also have to know your worth too, right? Like
exactly.
It's very easy to start off and be like, okay, I'm gonna undercut everybody and get the experience. But I think when you start to get to a point where like people are seeking you out and you're not like trying to beg for gigs and stuff like that, like it's okay to charge a higher price because you're going to give them the value. And you have to believe that in yourself as a wedding DJ also. So like it's also not always about price. Like if they say their budget is like, okay, whatever, $1,750. I was like, okay, well, I'll throw in an extra light, but it's still gonna cost you $2,000.
Right.
And like a lot of times they come around,
Yeah.
That's the whole point of negotiation. And
it is a constant battle though, man. Like just budgets and working with people's budgets is a constant battle. And it's just something that, again, be honest, if you have to pass it up, if it's not a fit, then it's not a fit, and that does happen as well. But I think Sheridan, maybe you want to add a little bit about Vegas, and I think you kind of brushed over it. You obviously work your remote Vegas, but you work for a venue, and what venue is that again?
So Wedgwood, and they are nationwide. So there's a Wedgwood. There's a couple Wedgwoods also in Cali and Chicago, but they're
What's your role like in for Wedgwood?
so they what is that? The preferred vendor, right? I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with the preferred vendor. With Wedgwood, with Wedgwood, we are the referred vendor. We are part of the package. So they can be like, it's a one-stop shop. You're gonna have your cake, your photographer, open bar, and the DJ all at this price, and they just like it. Boom. Now, they so when they book with us, they'll just give a whole list of all these weddings, and we're just like, this is yours, this is yours. Oh, they're doing country. Okay, this you could do this. Oh, this is hip hop slip. You could do this one. Oh, this is an African wedding. Maybe we have to go somewhere else because they may want a Latin speaker. So we just book DJs. It's almost like just a wedding free for all.
How long have you been at Wedgwood now?
Almost 5 years. Over 5 years.
And
we average 200 a year.
200 a year. And how many DJs are there of you?
Right now, for sure, like 2. There's only 2 of us, so you can imagine. And if I'm not available, that's when we start calling other people. So that's how Ice, if you want to know, that's how I slowly got out of the club scene, because it was great. I honestly love doing weddings because of it's really rewarding.
But isn't it different in Vegas too? Because in Chicago, it's like, 5 o'clock and then cocktail hour and then dinner is like 2 hours long, and we're going into like midnight.
Yeah. Like it's 7 hours here in Chicago all the time.
It's 5 hours here. Ice, how long is a wedding average in?
Yeah, what's a typical wedding day like?
Yeah, I mean it's average 5 hours or so. Like if you're talking just reception, right?
Yeah, just reception.
Just reception, yeah, average 5 hours.
This is including ceremony for us.
Midnight.
That's 5 hours including ceremony.
Yeah, and cocktail hour.
I'm gonna be a wedding DJ in Vegas now.
So yeah,
if you're talking cocktail hour and all that, then yeah, you add a couple more hours to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are. It's long.
90% here in Chicago. It's 5 o'clock ceremony, 6 o'clock cocktail, 7 o'clock dinner, and then 12 o'clock end.
4 o'clock ceremony, 4:30, 5:30 cocktail hour, 5:30 until like 9. Like I'm done. So I literally DJ for like an hour and a half, and I kill it for an hour and a half. So there's nothing wrong, and what's great with the venue that I'm at, the equipment is set up. I just show up with a controller and leave. Since we don't have to set up and strike. That's why I love it there. I don't have to do anything except the equipment there is high end. Nobody wants to hire elsewhere because once they see the system set up there, they realize like they're getting a really good value for their money.
No, and even though we have teams, we have set up and strike teams, it doesn't make it any less stressful. Like let me tell you, it's still stressful making sure everything is like ready to go and everything's set up. Physically, I might not be as tired, but it's still stressful making sure everything's set. Because like ceremonies, sometimes we'll do a whole new other setup, right? Like in a park or in the back in a terrace or something, and then you got to bring like a cocktail speaker, and then you have to set up in the reception too, because it's like, it could be a lot. Imagine that's 300 people, 250, 300 people. It's pretty common, right? I'm sure California is probably pretty similar.
Yeah, very similar. Same thing. But yeah, like a lot of times my weddings are done by 10 o'clock or 11 at the latest, and I could still hit a club and close out till 2 in the morning at the club. So
oh man, you're crazy.
So ours are almost always midnight. So you're saying over there they end a little earlier? Because do they start earlier then?
They do start earlier, like Slip was saying, like 3-4 o'clock reception.
Oh wow!
Ceremony, and then they're done by 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, most of the time 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, man, we're getting the shaft over here in Chicago.
No.
I've done 2 weddings in a day. So we've had morning weddings and evening weddings. So I've done that as well. So I've had weddings that start at 9 in the morning
Yeah.
to like 2 p.m.
Right.
So, and then I do another one from like 5 to 10. But then that's because we have 5-hour weddings.
Right. Yeah. So imagine like, you know, Glenn Coco brings up, just the grind, right? The whole day. So while we were still mixed media, like we were still doing our own setups, right? And I got to tell this quick story, but basically I'm doing this wedding by myself. And it's cool because, I think at the time we might have had somebody that could help, but I'm like, I'll do it by myself. It was a lot. It was a screen and projector. It was like a sub, 2 tops, lights, mics, cocktail, like everything. Had it jam packed in a car, an SUV, and I'm by myself. I'm giving myself plenty of time. It's a couple trips to the car, but it's fine. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock. Plenty of time, and I'm in there, and this guy just comes into my ballroom. It's like one of those wedding venues that has multiple ballrooms, and he comes in, and I'm just like, okay, weirdo, who are you? But then he starts talking, and he's actually pretty cool. And the first thing he looks at is he looks at the dance floor because everything's just laid out. He's like, "You by yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You did all this, but you carried all this." I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "And you're about to set up?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he's just like, immediately he just kind of goes into like, "Yo, man, you need to change this up." Like, I guess he's a longtime wedding DJ, and he personally was telling me these stories about his partners, his friends that had the same mentality. I'm gonna pick up an extra buck or two, a couple $100, keep the money, and do it myself. And now these fools can't walk. Like, those were like his exact words. He's like, they cannot walk anymore. Like, they have ruined their bodies because for 10 years, that's all they did. They would just like, and that kind of really chimed. I knew getting help, we've done it, but after that night, I'm like, you know what? He's freaking right. Like, I'm never gonna, I'm gonna try not to, it's not worth it. It's not worth $200 for the rest of my life and my body and my back. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because it is a grind, man. It's tiring, and to do all of that, even with a team, man, it's super tiring.
Yeah, when you do a wedding, it's a full day. It's usually a full day that takes up. Of course, I still do weddings outside of that venue, so I know, I mean, everything's still the same. But majority of the time here in Vegas are 5-hour weddings.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll be
home right there.
I'll be exhausted if I go to Cali or Chicago. It'll be like 7 hours. Are you insane?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And the biggest wedding you would do at Wedgwood is what?
200.
200. Yeah. But all your gear's there, so don't.
I mean, because of COVID right now, it's 50 or less.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you guys tell your clients, but I tell my clients that, let's say you have 100 guests. I always tell them around 10 to 20% of people are actually going to be dancing. The other certain percentage will be taking advantage of the open bar. A couple will be at the photo booth. A couple just don't want to dance. And now I have social distancing and the pandemic involved. So there's no egos with me. If they don't dance, I'm still going to provide a good, uplifting environment.
Yeah.
So now, whether they dance or not, I don't lose my self-esteem anymore like I used to.
Right.
Just unless I'm still providing a great environment and I'm still enthusiastic and just let them know that I'm still happy to be there.
Yeah.
That's a hard lesson to learn, though, especially coming from a club DJ, because like your mind is trained to like, if I'm not killing it, then I'm not doing my job. Like, I'm not doing a good job. But we actually set it up now. It's like, give me 2 or 3 slow songs. I'm probably not going to play them because I'm probably going to be killing them, like killing the night. But just in case you and your friends decide to take a shot and the dance floor completely clears, I want those in my back pocket. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, like that to just say, if people aren't dancing, like, you still got to perform and you still got to provide and give value, even though and it may not be your fault why people aren't dancing,
But once you're clear with that, your client, Christian, like I have one this Friday where it's a same-sex marriage. I already apologized to them. I already told them, like, hey, I do a lot of weddings every a year, and I apologize ahead of time that if I mention husband and wife by accidentally, it's because I've just been doing so many weddings. But I've trained myself to say newlyweds or newly married couple.
No, don't do it. You got this.
Yeah. So, but once I opened up to them, they empathized. But like, we understand it wasn't unintentional.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, that's some good points. I know you did mention COVID, and I don't want to get into that right now. That's probably be our maybe a part two, like wedding DJs and COVID, weddings and COVID in general. Um, Very sensitive subject, obviously. But let's get in. Let's move on. We got a couple more things to talk about. So next was okay. Say they sign. Even during the consultation, sometimes I bust out our checklist, right? Checklist is a pretty integral part. Touch on a little bit. I don't think we have necessarily time to really show it, but basically, we've built our mode checklist from a lot of experience of kind of early on versions of it to kind of where it is now. And every checklist is different. Everybody's gonna have their own. Everybody just kind of likes to work off of it, differently, and some versions work specifically for us, like compared to maybe Sheridan and Ice. But there's some things that I wanted to mention about while I'm going through it is so one of the things that I like to stress is the music, right? Because I like to go back now, right? First, it was kind of like, okay, um, we're all about the planning, right? Now all of a sudden it's like, well, you know what? I'm just kidding because we're actually all about the music. And it's true, right? Because we're all musical DJ backgrounds, right? So I like to mention that, like, hey, there's a lot of things to programming a wedding, right? There's like pretty much some of the things from your cocktail music and your dinner music, right? Let's hone that in. Let's think about what you gotta hear in the background. I can pick stuff, but I want you guys to suggest stuff. Then there's the program, right? There's your introduction songs, and with introductions, we're gonna kind of get into that a little bit. But introduction, you have like the specific songs for introduction, and there's even asking them, do you even care if it's like we get all crazy with introductions, or do you giving the option? Oh, we could play one song, or we could play as much as a new song for every single person that walks out, right? But that's part of the programming. And then there's like, of course, the standard stuff, your cake cutting song, your first dance, father, daughter, brother. And then there's like your dance program, right? Your must play, do not play. And it's a lot, right? I say this like, I'm like, hey, look, this is a lot. But believe me, I am ready and willing to step in at any point. But I really want you guys to try to, you know, uh, try to attack some of these because I really want your personality to come out. You know, it's it's don't think of it as, hey, that's why I'm hiring you. Like, why am I doing your job? Like, yes, like to a point you are helping, but it really is to just really make sure that personality, because chances are if they like some of this music, their friends are gonna like it, and so forth. So yeah, I mean, just real quick, we'll touch on a little bit, but that was one of the big things that I stress about, like the checklist, is the music, is really organizing all of that, right? And they're not gonna finish it all in one sitting. I mean, they're gonna come back to it, and I always tell them, if you need suggestions, I could give plenty of them. I have plenty of them. I will okay them with you, but this is really your music and your program to really kind of live into. Um, that's one of the things that I focus on the checklist. Christian.
I kind of hear it. Like Ice, do you actually have a DJ checklist template that you regularly use, or do you just lean on maybe a wedding planner or something like that? Like how do you go about that?
I don't have a checklist, but I have like a template of like a basic day that, like, yes, I'll need introduction songs. I'll need father-daughter dance,
Yeah, same thing.
those types of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, like, I feel like we've evolved our checklist maybe at least 5 or 6 times, and like it gets longer and longer as we evolve it. And like our point really is to just be as detailed oriented as possible. Just because, like, if you're able to just break it down with every piece, every song, like we really use that as like the Bible for the night. And I'll print out 5 copies, one to the banquet manager, one to the videographer, one to the photographer, one for the planner, one for me, one for my assistant. And so we can just follow along. We've even gotten into a couple arguments with like wedding planners, and we're like, no, we're not using that. Like, we're using like my timeline or whatever.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
like even to the point where not only songs, but like we're a big stickler about getting the introductions correct, and like you need to write it down phonetically how we say every single name so we don't get that wrong. And to anyone else, that seems like a very small thing, but I mean, it's a pretty big deal getting someone's name right and having them feel the confidence like walking out as you announce them and things of that nature. But it all goes back to like how you would run a business and work with clients is setting the expectations, making sure we're all on the same page, and that we're either meeting or exceeding the expectations. And I think the checklist really becomes a big part of that.
Yeah. Slip, what does your Vegas checklist look like?
Sometimes it's full, sometimes it's completely empty. So sometimes they just put DJ's choice, and I am and I believe that every time they do that, it's actually DJ's advice, and I really believe that. So if they tell me to choose
you're
what
accountable, right? No,
yes,
you're not accountable.
you don't want to be accountable for that. So I'll give them advice. Okay, you want the father-daughter dance? Okay, we've used My Girl, we used Butterfly Kiss, whatever song they want, and once they agree to that, they're like, okay, then that's the song. But I would never decide to choose a song and let them be surprised that they're on their wedding day that I'm just playing it, and there's like, oh my god, that song was like mine and my ex's song that you played. So I'm not going to do that. So I don't believe in DJ's choice. I believe more on giving them the best advice as possible, and we both can agree before you play it. So that would be probably a big tip on a checklist.
Ice, anything that comes to mind when presenting or filling out your checklist or stressing during this planning?
You guys covered majority of it right there. Sheridan said a really big piece of that, where you definitely want to avoid playing a song that reminds you of a past. But I do stress to the couple that, like, basically I want their musical taste to be expressed throughout the night. So sometimes they don't understand, like, why do I need to give you dinner music, or why do I need to give you cocktail suggestions and things like that. I'm all about, I want their musical taste to shine.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like the must playlist is equally as important as the do not playlist too. You know what I mean? Like, I've had people be like, yeah, I'm down with everything except Pitbull. Pitbull.
What was the one? I think I was that one, or I went to one and it was like no female pop, like, at all. So
I get a lot of those. I can only imagine. What I am afraid of is when they put so much on the do not playlist and some of the requests what they like. So you're almost like bound to fail.
Right.
Especially when they don't know their genres very well. It goes, okay, yeah, I would love you to play Montel Jordan and Humpty Dance, but no classic hip hop. Right? So yeah, I've seen those on your sheet. I'm pretty sure some people have done that. So and some people don't understand what genre it is. So I let them. I'm really clear on what they want to get. So
yeah,
I had a bride that was just a nightmare bride from hell musically.
Here we go.
Okay, musical.
Good
okay,
stuff.
so she gives me this whole list of ratchet music that she wants played for her wedding. And I'm like, you trust me in keeping the flow and making sure everybody dances? She's like, yes, I trust you. And I'm like, okay, I will play your music selections in little pockets in between what I think works. Come to the night, she tells me, I want ratchet music to start off the night. I'm like, you said you trusted me. Let me get the night going. So I get the night going, got the dance floor packed, and then all of a sudden, she's like, comes up to me, I want ratchet music now. Okay, you're the bride. I got you. I play a good set of ratchet music. She's happy. She leaves. I change up the music to stuff that I know will get the crowd back, because by this time, only the younger crowd that likes the ratchet stuff were there, and everybody else was just gone. And so I'm trying to resuscitate that dance floor. And then she comes back. Well, no, she doesn't even come back. From across the room, she's like, gives me this, meaning switch the song back to ratchet. And then she texts me, switch it back to ratchet.
Oh my God.
And then she's over there taking some pictures. I change up the music again. I can see her from taking a picture, change it back to ratchet. So at this point, I just play all ratchet, everything down her list. And then
it was
she wasn't even satisfied with that. She just wanted me to go through like one verse or even just a hook of the song and change it. So this was her thing every few minutes.
Sure.
Ratchet. I'm like, oh, I hate ratchet. She was oh my God.
So yeah, we get a lot of those too. And during my consultation, I try to be clear on the strategy that I have. So I tell them directly, like, hey, I know you want ratchet, but we also want, I tell them my strategy, like in the very beginning of open dancing, I like to play it a little more old school so we don't scare away your older guests, right? And then we could try to lead into it. So once we gain your older guests' trust, they'll dance to ratchet too. That's the whole goal. Because, I mean, what would be more memorable, you and your friends dancing or grandma dancing on the dance floor?
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's when they're like, they open their minds, goes, yeah, absolutely. Play a little bit more for them, get their trust, mix it up a little bit, because we want everyone to have a good time, because we are technically throwing a party for your guests and not for yourself.
Hey, the funny thing, though, was she was like that in the planning meeting, but once we got to the drink center, it was a wrap. Ratchet, texting me, ratchet, sending me a bridesmaid, ratchet.
Crowd sign. No,
Don't you, I feel nervous when I do that too. I've done a whole night with all ratchet, and I feel bad for the rest of the guests. Did you have that feeling?
Oh, I had that feeling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I did a Korean wedding once, and they wanted all gangster rap. He's like just Tupac, Biggie Smalls, just gangster rap, and I was like, okay, but like I guess typical Korean weddings, a lot of the parents leave anyways, right when the dancing starts.
They do,
Yeah. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but still, I was like, okay, I'm going in then. Like, let's go, Tupac. Let's go.
Hey, have you guys ever had this though? Like, I played a Japanese wedding, and they said we don't dance, we just drink. We just want the music. So I'm like, no dancing, nothing? And they're like, no dancing, just kompai. That's all we want.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, all right.
And what happened?
What'd you end up playing?
I just played everything that they wanted and then everything that I felt, but nobody danced at all, man. Just everybody was at the bar drinking. I was
empty dance floor. So dance floor, but empty.
Dance floor empty the whole night.
Wow.
I've had
Kind of boring.
Some Chinese traditions are the same way too. They just don't dance. And I've had that. I mean, I have a wedding that's supposed to happen in March, but it got postponed. They wanted to book. They booked us to put some TVs and PlayStation set up so they could play video games during the reception instead of dancing.
Right.
So
It's the easiest gig ever. I love it.
they're like, no rap. And I was like, well, what do you mean by no rap? Like, is Nelly rap? And they're like, no, Nelly's cool. I was like, okay, so like, what about like, I don't know. And I just started naming like Naughty by Nature. Like, is that okay? Yeah, that's cool. Just like no like rap. And they were trying to allude to say like ghetto rap.
Yeah,
they didn't want to say it. Like
ratchet.
Ratchet.
Yeah, ratchet.
Good. Yeah.
Well, we know that. We know that.
Yeah, like I remember, like No Bruno, and I was like, really? Can I just play one? Like just one? Like can I not play any Bruno Mars? No, but like with the must play and do not play, yeah, definitely important. I stress it too. I love to hear everything. Whatever you guys want to hear, but man, please fill out that do not play, because the last thing I want to do is play any cringe ass songs that you guys don't want to hear. You know what I mean? So the do not play is just as important. And it's it's a whole process, right? It's the program, it's the whole flow of everything. It's a musical kind of masterpiece, and I like to kind of think of it at the end, right? It's a very personalized, specific, custom piece, from beginning to end. And I did want to touch on the introductions just a little bit, because Christian touched on it a little bit. So I take those very seriously, like very seriously. And I tell these couples, right, like, hey, we're gonna make sure that we pick these introductions, the introduction music, and not even really stressing too much to them. So yeah, so what Christian said, of course, phonetics, right? I mean, that's huge. It's almost common sense. But I've been in weddings, I've been at weddings where, especially if they're Filipino weddings, right? And you got like a freaking huge procession, right? And then you got the DJ like literally trying to learn names like right there. And I'm like, bro, you're crazy. Like, there's no way you're gonna, like, the chances of you messing up are high. Now, granted, does it matter? Not really. Like, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, okay, so you messed up my name. But so the analogy I give is like, you know what? I like to say names with confidence, right? What Christian said. If you say somebody's name confidently, they hear it confidently, and then they come out confidently, right? It's like this. I mean, it really is this domino effect in a positive way. Like, you want to make sure you bring it. That's why when it comes to the introductions, I start energy very kind of subdued at first, but I'm constantly building that up. So when I get to the bride and groom, it is just like you cannot help yourself, but you want to explode when those guys come out. You know, it's confidence, it's saying names very clearly. I'm rehearsing these names the night before, that morning, and right before I start, and also in my rider to make sure that I could start is I have a glass of scotch. Like, I have to have a glass of scotch. Like, I got to, just to make sure I get all this edginess.
Oh man.
You know, and just to make sure I'm nice and loose to start. But man, as soon as that hits go, and you know, Christian, we've done a lot of weddings together, man. As soon as it hits go, dude, like and again, like you said, Sheridan, you got people complimenting you. You haven't even DJ'd yet, you know, and that's kind of like what I look for. It's like, man, when I'm done with that, I'm taking a piss in the bathroom, and some guy's like, hey, man, you're doing it like you're doing an awesome job. I'm like, dude, I haven't even done anything yet. Like, it's like.
Yeah, but technically, they love how I control the evening so far,
Right.
By making them announcements. Because if we just have a simple announcement saying that in 15 minutes we're about to have our speeches, now they don't feel restless. They could go get a drink, go to use the restroom without the worry of like what's happening next, and just sitting down, just waiting for something to happen.
Right.
So, just making those simple announcements and being appreciative and guiding their guests to run it a lot smoother.
Yeah, and then during the consultation, it's like, okay, well, who's coming in? Where are they going to go? Do you want anybody to stand and wait? Do you want if the bridal party stays and waits, then where should they stand? And do you want them to maul you when you get in? And all those questions have to be asked, because like you want to make sure that
and
it's weird.
And Rex, you mentioned Filipino weddings, right?
Sure.
We have to mention sponsors. We got to do the bridal party, parents. So I had Filipino couples like, you know what, we're not going to do sponsors. And I was like, whoa, we have to do sponsors, because you don't want your aunt and uncles, for some reason with Filipinos, they really want to be acknowledged. Like, even if they just sponsored the napkins for the evening, we got to mention it. And I've seen that happen. Do you guys have that same experience where?
They love their titles also, man. Yeah, if you're a doctor, or they're a commander, or they're the mayor or something. Forget about it, man. You gotta
make sure it's doctor, PhD, everything, right?
The titles, and you cannot mess those up. Those titles. Oh my God, that's a great point. Name. But if they have a title, you better not mess up that title either.
Exactly.
Not only include it, but you better not mess it up. Yeah.
But
shout out to DJ Rose. I see you, Rose.
Yeah, and actually said a really good thing that he posted about the energy. I'm always enthusiastic, especially during introductions and throughout the whole evening, because it does feed off. That energy feeds off through your guests and through the whole evening. And they feel like that I'm actually part of the family. Like, wow, are you part of this family? And so I really try to be enthusiastic most of the evening and let them know that.
It's those little things that when you put attention to it and like really execute on it, that's the difference between you and the not DJ who has videography, photography, and DJ packages in one, and he does it all. You know what I mean? Like for like a low price or whatever. Like that's why you're able to command that kind of price, because you're able to put out that product. I mean, like we just had a 20-minute conversations about getting people's names right. Like and it ends up being a big deal. Like at the end of the day, it all adds up. These little things adds up into like a great night, you know.
100%. Everything adds up. Totally, man. Yeah. So I guess maybe just to move on a little bit. I think we talked about the introduction, the MC, and maybe if I could just add a few more things about just being an MC in general. My kind of approach to it, nobody's really taught how to be a wedding MC, right? You kind of have to just learn your ways, learn your own kind of nick and necks and how you like to do things. And, you kind of build and you go through the low times and the high times of awkward moments and, try to not have any awkward moments. But I mean, just some of the things that I really try to focus on, I guess any advice I would give is, you want to be confident and clear, right? It's balance. I'm sure you guys are going to attest and add, but it's like there's balance, right? You don't want to be too formal, right? You don't want to talk, but then you also don't want to talk too much. You don't want to talk too little. You want to crack jokes, but you don't want to crack awkward jokes. Like you want to keep it light. It's like there's so much, right? There's a lot of balance here, but again, all these kind of factors matter, right? Because it really does matter. You got to kind of build your own balance and your own personality to kind of be comfortable behind there. And it's really trying to make it feel like you're just one of them, right? You're a friend, you're a homie, you're a family member, you're a cousin that's DJing the wedding, right? Because then they immediately kind of open up to you, right? They open up to you, the crowd open up to you, the people do, and they're like, man, this guy's awesome. He's like, they know you, people coming up to you like they know you, because that's the goal that I try to present on the mic. Introductions are a little bit different. I definitely pick it up a little bit. I definitely get into even like, screaming and, if I feel it's necessary. I mean, I'm like really getting into it, if like a kid is killing him, like, oh damn, like literally, just get these people like, oh shit, he's right. Like this is you can't forget, like everybody listening, this is a party. Like this is a damn celebration. It doesn't have to be this crazy formal thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, balance all that. Good luck.
That is one of the things I stress to a couple is this is a party. This is a celebration. We're gonna get hype. We're gonna get lit. Right. It's not about formalities or all of that other crap. It's a party. We're celebrating you. So that's
I mentioned that like the ceremony's over. We're done with that. Now it's time to party. Just relax. Just enjoy the evening and take in the moment, because it's gonna happen so fast.
I mean, that goes back to our preparation and you being able to be confident emceeing. Like, if your checklist is tight and your details are, you go over all the details and you know exactly what's going to happen, that leads to you being able to be a confident MC and run the night and quarterback it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no surprises or what's next or what's coming, and you don't have to worry about those things, and you just worry about entertaining. And that's really what our job is to entertain.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess when it comes to kind of anything else, Slip, regarding, I know you have some good points when it comes to being an MC, and I don't know if we already kind of covered those though.
There's so much that we could go over. We probably need like 4 more episodes of this thing just to go over. You know,
Yeah, that should just be one episode by itself, right there.
it should be.
The wedding MC, right?
The MC, yeah, we could just talk about that, and you have to have the right verbiage because it's different for every couple. So, just like I said, it could be a same-sex marriage. It could be maybe they want that drill sergeant that at 7 o'clock we have to do this, and maybe they want to be easygoing. So you really have to learn. You were technically reading them during that consultation, and when my first pitch every time I have I speak with a client is I tell them like, I'm going to ask you some question. It has nothing to do with music. There's a misconception of what a wedding DJ does. I'm not going to stand behind the DJ booth and just play music. I'm going to do a lot more than that. I want to provide your guests with information so that all the questions that you may have now, you can ask me so you can just enjoy the rest of your evening.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess just one last point to like this whole balance with emceeing, and it's like you can't forget about balance with music too, right? Like when you start dancing, I know there's DJs out there that like the line dancing and the teaching and the learning and the getting crowd into it, and I am not hating on that type of DJ at all. But sometimes I like to just let the music talk, right? It's like it's all the language or the talking anybody needs, occasionally you might need to jump on and be like, how y'all doing out there? But like when that open dance floor part, like I literally hardly say a word.
If there's any tip that I would give any wedding DJs in here is there are some reviews I've also seen where like the DJ didn't play my requested music, right? So what I always do like 20 minutes before the end of the evening is I approach the wedding couple and be like, I played majority or all of your requests. Is there something you want to hear again or something else? Because during the consultation, I let them know like, hey, there's no egos with me. If you literally want to hear Cupid Shuffle on repeat for an hour, I'll do it for you. That's what you want. So I let them know beforehand. So it kind of gets that whole issue that you didn't play any of the requests because you already approached them. Because sometimes you already played a certain song and they weren't even in the room, or they were in the room and they weren't just listening at all. So it's better to just approach them 20 minutes before and just ask them if you have any other special requests they want to hear.
Sure.
That's a good tip. I never thought about
that is a good tip. I've never thought about that either.
So
I don't care for reviews anyway, though. But
and so that's another thing with us, since we're at this venue.
Oh man!
Even after the night is over, we have to wait for those comment cards because we get a bonus when we receive that. So just because the night is over, next week I'm like, hey, you got a B or an F review. So
yeah, that's huge.
So in my case, I have to wait for that review or comment card with the venue, and that's why it keeps us going every year.
Right, and you can't come off too eager for it either. You gotta come off.
No, I don't mention it like, oh, leave a nice review. I don't do that at all. Just do a great job, and those reviews come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, you sparked a funny question, or a question that I forgot to address that I get a lot was, how do you just mix, or do you just play the songs out? Or how much of the song do you play? How do you play the requested versus like a preset list? Do you just come with a preset? I get all those freaking questions, right? And I guess real quick, I'm sure you guys can chime in, but for me, it kind of goes back to what I said about, I'm always surveying, right? Yeah, of course I got my wedding artillery that always kind of works and I always fall back on. But I tell them like, look, I got these, we call it age agnostic, right? All age friendly. Some of those songs that you want to start the night with, you want the all ages elderly on the dance floor, making sure they're there to start. And then you're kind of sprinkling in the request or their playlist, right? And most couples are pretty understanding, except maybe the ratchet girl, about playing all their playlist and how much of it. But I think couples like to hear that we try to interject it, like you said, I interject them here and there. That's normally what we do. We always have them there, almost like as a prepare list, right? Like you're gonna go to it as much as you want, as much as you can, but telling them that we might not play all of them, and it's usually fine. It's usually okay. But yeah, I kind of have that approach. Like I'm serving, I'm playing my wedding artillery, but it's also flavored and tailored towards their playlist because I want to make sure I get to the playlist and have to interject them more easily. And then, real quick, that must play and do not play. One thing I wanted to add was like line dancing. It's like holy crap, right? Like nowadays, when someone says no line dancing, it's like, what does that really mean? You know what I mean? Or no, I'm sorry, no cheesy wedding songs. So what the frick does that mean, right? I mean, we literally go through them. That's what I do. Like, let's just go through. You tell me yes or no. Like Cupid Shuffle, yes or no. Cha-Cha Slide, yes or no. The Wobble, yes or no. Frickin' Nay Nay, yes or no. All that.
All day.
Right.
So Rex, just like I said, you got to really know your couple. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, just understand what the couple wants. And what's nice about us, all of us here are also club DJs, so we can already have that programming experience behind us.
Adapt. Yeah.
But I've had actually Chris Cuts in here, one of our best friends who got married, but she specifically wanted no line dancing at all, right? Fine. But I was talking to her. Yeah, with Filipinos, I just told her, I just want to let you know, Tito Boy will be requesting that line dance, right? And she said, no. Okay, fine. At the same time, I also told them, like, with Filipinos, if they find that right BPM and that right pocket, they'll line dance to anything. And they do, right? Have you ever had that experience? And she was like, stop dancing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not playing a line dancing song, but they still do. So it just really depends on the couple. If if they want to hear Cupid Shuffle, that's fine. There's nothing wrong against it. If that's your like go-to, well,
that's a different story. You just gotta go over them. Like Electric Slide. Like some people love that song. Some people hate it. Like and all of them. Cupid Shuffle. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Cha-Cha Slide. Oh my God, I hate that song. But some people are like, oh, I love that song still.
Yeah. So I Rex, if anything, I have had that experience with the couples, and I also tell them that. But these are those songs that can get grandma to dance. So what's more memorable to you?
The grandma card again.
Well, it's true, because when you have your immediate family to dance and you have a photo of that, I mean, that means more than just your taste in music.
Sure.
I mean, I always frame it as like after your guys' first dance and you're, dance with your dad or mom or whatever, I was like, what almost always happens is you and your friends are going to hit the bar. So all your friends are going to be at the bar. And so this is the time for like the aunts, the uncles, the grandmas, your parents, teenagers to come dance. So like I'm really going to cater to them first. You guys go get liquored up. And when you guys are nice and primed and ready, then it's going to be club time. So then we'll transition into like all of your playlists and get into that. And it's all about you and your friends. So it always goes back. Like you set the expectation, leave zero room for surprises. And it's gonna be a pretty easy night.
Sure. No, that's a great point, man. Like we gotta hit that all age, that the adults in the beginning, and usually most couples are okay with that, and it's the Michaels, it's the disco, it's the funk, it's the stuff that just like, man, it's gonna get you going, and then it's such a transitioning off. I have three. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I start every freaking open dance floor with the same 3 songs.
Yeah.
And it freaking murders it every time. Every time. And it's like, it's insane to me. Because even when I spin them, I still like spinning them because they sound so good. And it's just like, I mean, okay, it's September, but the remix, and then into Bizarre, into Michael Jackson. And those 3, like, just the way I kind of do it, it's just like, oh my God, freaking fail proof, 3 songs. I'm telling you, I will record it and give you the tracks, and you guys will. I want you guys to test. I want you guys to use it. You don't have to start it, but like just play like in a row. Let me know how it went.
So there's a question in the chat.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Not sure if you answered this question, but about taking requests.
Yeah, sure. I'll let Christian. How about you start? We'll go around.
Yeah, I mean, so like taking requests. So again, it kind of goes back to the difference between like a club DJ and a wedding DJ. Like you're there to cater to your clients. So I always tell the couple during the meeting, if it's on the do not playlist, I need your verbal permission for me to play. Like, I don't care if it's like your aunt or your great grandmother. Like, if you don't give me the okay, I'm not going to play it. Otherwise, if it's not off limits and I can work it into the program and into the flow of the vibe, then I'll definitely work any request in. But if it's like your little cousin that's like, yo, play 6ix9ine, and it's like 10 o'clock, I'm like, I'll work it in a little bit later, bro. Like, you know, and so that goes back to like the programming and fitting it in. Unless Tito Boy drops me 100 spot and be like, hey,
we playing this right now.
Dance, and it's not on that playlist, I'm taking 100. Let's go.
Slip.
Well, I already asked the couple before during consultation, how do you feel about guests making requests? Because I have no problems with guests making requests. And they'll say yes or no. And if it's yes, and it's not on the do not playlist, then I'll take care of it. But I do have a request in return with guests as well. I would mention sometimes like, if you have any guest requests, come on up to the DJ booth, but it's not for you to listen to, it's for you to dance to. So if it's going to clear the dance floor, and you want to electric slide, you better be out there dancing by yourself.
Do you give that analogy right there?
Oh yeah, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Because let's say he does want the electric slide, and Auntie was like, okay, she'll call everybody out to dance with her.
Sure.
Right? So yeah. The request is for you not to listen to, but just for you to dance to. That helps a lot.
Making people think out there, like, oh, damn.
But honestly, requests are definitely great, especially if you're doing a genre that you've never done before.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. So that's where, like, now I can do a country wedding, and I'm, like, killing it. Now I could do all these different weddings.
Right. Maybe I'll give him a second. So for me, for requests, my approach is kind of different. I kind of use this in the club too, or it just depends, you know, or private events even. Like my answer when requests come in, and again, sharing a good point with making sure first with a couple, but assuming that everything's fine. I like when request comes in, I say yes. Like, yep, sure, yeah. Like I almost lie, right? Because I'm not gonna say that it hasn't like, you know, bit me in the butt a few times because like you get that person's like, hey, you said yes, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, but I say yes just because I want it lets them leave me alone. But two, I throw it up in the prepare, and I'm like, you know what? I can't think about this right now, but you know what? I might be able to throw it in. Like, who knows? And if I do throw it in, I know somebody there wants to hear it. So chances are, you have to make a judgment call, obviously. If it's something way left field, then of course I'm not going to play it. I'm going to be like, you're crazy. But if it's something that's relatively in the realm, which is probably, you know, majority of them, I'll throw up in the prepare and be like, yeah, okay, I'll try to play it. Most of the time, I will play it. Sometimes I don't play it. And when I don't play it, that person sometimes comes back, but usually doesn't. So, you know, there's a balance there. But generally, I'm like, dude, yep. Like, yeah, I'll play it, and I'll just throw it up because it's like, dude, if they're there, they want to hear it. If they want to hear it, they're gonna probably dance to it. So it just helps me, you know. I know that's like a weird approach to requests in general. I'm not saying I always follow that, but sometimes I like to follow that at weddings.
I'm kind of along your same lines, though. I automatically say yes.
Yeah.
But then I also say, and I'm upfront and honest. I'm like, I'll get to your requests when it feels right or when it goes with the vibe and with what I'm playing. I can't just switch up the whole thing for that one request. That's
right.
I kind of explained that.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, like, I'm sure we're all at a point in our wedding game where those requests come less frequent. Like, I feel like if you're killing it,
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
shouldn't have it.
play anything because they're just having a great time.
They can't even think about it because you're
right.
doing the thinking for them, right?
You're killing it already. And so,
Great
like,
point.
I feel like I don't get that many requests anymore, except for maybe like that one random tita that's like, hey, you didn't play enough like or ballroom dancing or something like that. But
Or you could be doing so bad they don't even want to bother you.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's true.
Or you could have that bridezilla like me.
Yeah.
Ratchet, more ratchet.
Right. What's worse, this or like getting requests all night? I think this is pretty bad too.
Bad.
Oh, if it comes from somebody to dance floor, oh my god, nothing gets me like so more mad, right? Someone's looking at you and they're like this. I'm like, fuck you. Like, who are you? Like, because that had happened to me once, and I was just like, dude, that's so freaking rude. Yeah, so we were talking about just general like request and how you approach. And yeah, I think in general it's okay. It's okay to play them. I did have something I was gonna say, but I forgot. But we're gonna actually run to a question that came in from Parada is my boyfriend. That's Lindsay, our usual host of Wedding Wednesdays, and she asked, "Is there a wedding song that we're sick of?"
I mean, I can start because I do it a lot. No, there isn't.
No, nothing.
There's no song because I hear it every. I mean, 1,000 Years by Piano Guys, or for ceremonies, or Cupid Shuffle. It doesn't matter because it's their experience, right? It's not my wedding. I never had. It's not like I'm going to go home and put my wedding playlist on my iPod or something. So yeah, there's really no song that I'm actually sick of because I only play it there anyway.
I guess I would say that even if I hated a song, but I played it and it killed, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could just hate that song and I'm never gonna listen to it in the car, but at the wedding and I played it and it killed, I was like, that was dope,
Ice, is there something that comes to mind?
No, I think I'm kind of like Slip also. I just feel the music and the energy of the people, period. If it makes them happy, then I'm cool,
Yeah,
But
I think Lindsay went back.
What's that?
Lindsay went back and said, yeah, but how about songs that were played a lot then? So how do you feel about that?
I love them too.
I still love them, right?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll speak for myself because I mix it up. I play all kinds of events all the time, so I don't exactly do wedding after wedding after wedding, like back to back, like you, Sheridan.
Yeah.
Man, 200 weddings, damn.
It's
That's
crazy.
just bananas, man.
Oh, it's awesome. It's fun. When you think about it, no matter how much I do, the music, what's great about weddings and compared to clubs, club music are in phases. With weddings, a lot of the songs we play stands a test of time. I mean, how am I going to get sick of playing a Stevie Wonder song? How am I going to get sick of hearing, I mean, now like a lot of Bruno Mars has been playing, but because it reaches different age demographics. So whether or not it's the Cha-Cha Slide, I don't mind it because no matter how many it is, it brings so many different people to be dancing and just having a great time together. So it has nothing to problem. I have no problems with it.
Sometimes I think I'm like, if Bruno Mars didn't exist, that would take away 20 minutes of time. What would I do without Bruno Mars?
We better hope that Bruno Mars doesn't get into some kind of scandal to where everybody cancels Bruno Mars. There goes right there.
Like in Chicago, R. Kelly is a no-go.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
exactly. So
Right.
Yeah.
That's like at least 3 or 4 tracks.
I mean, I did a wedding where the couple was like, "No, Michael." I'm like, "Okay,
yeah.
how about one?" And they're like, "Okay, one." Yeah, but we were just playing some of these songs that I don't know, considered old. I mean, I kind of hate Bizarre Love Child. I'm just kidding. That is the jam. Obviously, that's like one of the wedding anthems. But okay, if there was one song that does come to mind that I just kind of don't like playing, and I'm kind of annoyed, it's Robin Thicke and Pharrell. What's the
Blurred Lines.
yeah, Blurred Lines. Something about Blurred Lines. I just, like, it's so.
It's a new line dance, right?
That's a line dance song over here on the West Coast, man. Like, all
I've
those
seen it. Just something about that song, though. I just like, I don't know, strikes a tune that I strikes a chord. I just can't. Yeah. But no, it's like, man, I feel like it's been a great show. I think, like, what, if anybody in the chat room, we're gonna wrap things up. If anybody in the chat room has any last minute questions, get them in now. Let's maybe do a quick roundtable. Just kind of like, real quick, as Sean from Hot Ones would say, kind of like red carpet, where you're at, what you're doing, what's in, what do you got going on? We could even just start with you, Ice.
So what's the question again?
Yeah, just kind of like what's going on. What are you currently up to? What do you push? Anything you want to promote? Kind of stage is yours.
Okay, well, one thing I will share with this whole pandemic stuff, I've been able to pivot and do a lot of virtual events. So I've played everything from school dances to, I actually have a wedding coming up soon, and I've been doing corporate stuff. So just corporate events, even a corporate, what you call it. But yeah, the whole thing with that I wanted to say about that is that doesn't matter where you're at with all of this. You could still be you could still be creative, and you could still DJ. If you love to DJ, you can still make it happen, pandemic or not. So you guys can find me on social media, DJ Icy Ice on Instagram or on Twitch, and I pretty much stream very frequently.
What time do you usually stream at, Ice? Usually stream every day or at?
Well, Snapback, we do every day at 12 noon. So you can catch us on Twitch, 12 noon every day.
Nice.
Myself, I usually like to go on maybe 11 o'clock before and set up our guests so that we have a nice room, leading in and stuff. So, but yeah, I also go random times too. So I'll do late nights, I'll do midday, doesn't matter. Just whenever I'm feeling it or when I have the pocket of time.
Sure.
Awesome.
Make sure you guys follow him. I guess we want to address that real quick. Jay Lust asks, how much should someone tip a DJ?
Ooh. Go ahead. You guys want to start real quick?
I don't know, 20%?
Ice, can you answer that?
How much should someone tip a DJ?
Shoot, man, I don't know. I don't ask for tips.
Yeah, we don't ask, right?
Yeah.
I've known wedding planners. They say like 5 to 10%. I've seen that. That's only because the wedding planner, who's ever in charge, that's how much they ask for to vendors. I don't know if Rod is still in here, but we don't ask for it. And sometimes when they do, in my situation here in Vegas, I tell them thanks for the tip, whether it's $1 or $100. I just let them know, like, the best kind of tip you can ever give me is leaving a comment or review, because that keeps me working.
Yeah, that's definitely unique to you, Sheridan. That's way more valuable than
any monetary tip.
Yeah.
So,
I think 10% is actually good if I think about it. Most of the time, as Chris Cutt says, they usually don't. But if I do get it, it's usually around the 10% range. So I feel like if it's 10% tip, I look at it like that, like, thank you. Like, that was not necessary, but thank you. If I could throw my tech, some of that, and then, like, take some of that for myself, like, that just, like, makes everything feel great. Greatly appreciated. So, yeah, 10% is good. I think 10%. Or no.
Anything is fine.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Sure.
I mean, that goes to show this panel, like, it's such a hard question to answer, because
It is.
Like, wait, that's the mark of a good wedding DJ. Like, there's no expectation of that. Like,
Sure.
we're here for you. So
Yeah.
right.
So Slip, what are you up to?
Nothing. I'm just doing weddings and weddings. I have a wedding this Friday. I have actually like 3 or 4 more left before the end of this month.
Sure.
And October, the season of everyone's getting married. So I think there's 20 or 30 this just October alone. But a lot of them are postponed for next year as well. So
Of course.
it'll be fun.
C note, anything, aka Christian, anything you want to plug or promote?
yeah, we got just like Ice. We are pivoting also. We're actually doing live broadcasts of a couple weddings coming up. We just did a live broadcast of an auction for a non-for-profit, and Twitch has been like a wealth of experience and information that enabled us to really monetize it and like give that kind of production to somebody using OBS and whatnot. So hopefully that will continue. I'm on Twitch also. Hoyla Club one time. We do Wednesday tonight. Me and Rex will be on later tonight.
Yeah, we'll be on later.
Yeah, tantalizing Thursdays and Senpai Sundays. And then the CJ Mindset is my new blog that I've been putting out, just trying to give back some of the wealth and life experience that I've had in the realm of personal finance, travel hacking, investment, personal development. Just trying to get some of the stuff that I've learned, hopefully inspire others to level up in their life and be in better situations. And, you know, my dream is that we're all on our retirement properties next to you, Ice, in California, chilling instead of working the rest of our lives. So that's the kind of information
Awesome.
I'm putting out. So
Yeah, CJ Mindset. Y'all make sure you check it out, everybody in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I think as far as myself, maybe from mode aspect, like again, I kind of mentioned earlier, you know, we're really taking this time to really, you know, work on internally, you know, mode. What is mode, and where are we? Where do we want to go, and what do we want to do? You know, and at the end of the day, you know, we want to just create a great environment for our team and for everybody and everyone, make everybody happy and happy to be here and one big happy family. You know, yeah, right. But we're trying, you know, and you know, again, pivoting to this pandemic has just been so challenging, you know, but it is cool to see that, you know, there are things out there that we could still be part of and still almost help pioneer and define, right? Because God, talk about Wild West if there ever was one, right? Nobody knows how to do anything. Everybody's winging this, and it's insane. It's so crazy to me. But I don't want to get into that. You know, that's probably part 2. But again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Again, I'm DJ Rex, part of the Holy Luck Club. I DJ with these guys Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. And you could find me on tonight. I'll be on at 11 o'clock. Christian will be on at 10 o'clock Central. But I do want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to definitely special thanks to Ice, man, for hanging out. Thank you for coming out, man. It's been awesome. Hopefully, maybe we think of more wedding topics to talk about. We do a part 2. I know this is going a little bit long.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it's part 3 because Chris Cut was actually part 1.
Oh, that's right. Krista was part 1. She was episode 1, actually. Episode 1.
Yes.
So this wedding DJ panel part 2, and then hopefully we'll do a part 3. But yeah, I mean, I think we're good, Chair. What else?
Yeah, I think we're great. Thank you so much.
Couple plugs.
Thank you
I
for
forgot.
having me.
Last couple plugs. Cracker Luck Club this Sunday with the Cracker Nuts. And
Yes.
then I'll be on Casino Tuesdays next week too.
Oh, Casino Tuesdays. That's a great
I'll be
channel.
opening up Casino
Homies
Tuesdays.
run that out of New York and LA. And then, yeah, Cracker Luck. So basically, we're doing a Hoy Luck and a Cracker Nuts kind of combo sets, interweaving sets all day from 12 to 8. And then, yeah, other than that, I think one of the last things I do want to just mention is, again, this is Wedding Wednesday vlog. It's a weekly vlog that's every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here in the Moto Events channel. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Maybe you even catch Sheridan spinning on it secretly every now and then.
Yep.
Next week. Ice.
Yeah, make sure next week you tune in. It'll be Lindsay will be back with a fresh new guest next week.
All right.
Hey.
All right. Appreciate it, Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rex.
No problem.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
All right,
you so
guys. I'll see you guys later.
See you all.
All right.
You're rating somebody real quick.
Oh, wait a second. Let me put Rex back on. There he is.
Yeah, if you do we need a rate? No, I think well, by myself.
If you wanted to, we can raid. I guess so. Ice already left, so I just wanted to make sure if you wanted to do that and end the chat. So
Yeah. Squared is on. Who else is on? Might as well raid somebody.
okay.
Squared. We can go to squared.
Anybody else? Anybody else come to mind? Or you, Sheridan, or your whatever? Don't care. Just deal.
I see Aquatech. I see Nick Styles. I see
Rama Rich doing poor choices. Gene Ho.
Alvin is on. Chris Kut said. Alvin Ease.
Yeah, we do.
We could do Alvin.
Yeah.
Then.
Alvin.
All right.
Nightcap.
Do a quick outro so that we can cut it in the edit.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to cut this already, but yeah, I don't know, Sheridan. You wanna? Is there an outro video?
Yes, I'll do that after this. I just have to log into the.
Rama Rich is talking. Maybe we can continue the talking theme here.
Okay, so now I'm already on our Twitch channel and I can do so.
Your call, Christian. Either Rama or Alvin.
Talk show and podcast. I guess we could keep the same theme.
Okay, could you put in the private chat so I spell it right?
Yeah.
But I kind of want to show the mode events support to the DFH fam.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they don't really know, that we, some of them know, but some of them don't really know. So I think it'd be cool.
So we're going Alvin?
Yeah, let's go to Alvin. Sorry, Rama. Sorry, Chris. But
all right, let's do it. So
Alvin Ease. Alvin Ease, I think, yeah.
All right.
Don't forget, Hoyla Club.
Yeah, tonight.
I'm on midnight, actually. So you're on 11, I'm at midnight.
Okay, I'm after you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm rating right now. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we appreciate you.
An outro video?
Yep.
Okay. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.